All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for your patience here. It's a pleasure to be joined by everybody. Today we are kicking off the Robot Lab Summer Webinar Series, and this is going to be the Automate Your Research webinar featuring Robot Lab and Agile X. I'm just going to take a moment here to share my screen with you so that you can see our presentation today. All right. Yes, again, thank you so much for everybody for joining. What I'm going to go ahead and do is start off by going over today's agenda. Today, we're going to be doing an introduction to not only Robot Lab, but also our newly emphasized vertical, higher education. And that's what everybody is here for today, right? We're also going to be going over ways that AGVs are used to automate different processes. We spent a day in San Francisco with the Agile X Scout Mini, which I think is everybody will be very excited to see. And we're going to also have a discussion on why we chose Agile X as our preferred partner for AGVs and their available options. At the end, we will be doing a Q&A session with you all. So if you guys have any questions about maybe your use case and how you hope to use an AGV for your research or in any type of scenario, we'll be able to go over all of those with you. If you have questions about pricing, if you have software questions, we will be covering all of that during today's session. I'm your host, Peter Bowman, and I'm actually your higher ed account manager. And to my right, I have Cedric Vaudel. He's the vice president of sales here at Robot Lab, and somebody who I've had the opportunity to work with for a few years now.
Thank you, Peter, and welcome everyone. And it's a pleasure to have you here today, attending this session. So again, thanks everyone for your time. We really appreciate it. And I am going to talk a little bit about us, about Robot Lab. So as Peter was mentioning, I'm the vice president of sales here at Robot Lab. So I lead all the sales operations globally. I've been working in robotics for almost 17 years now. Started back in France, Paris, where I'm originally from. If you wonder where my accent is coming from, and I moved 12 years ago to the US. So I've worked sometimes with Robot Lab. It's been, I believe, 9 years now. So the company itself was founded in 2011. So it's been a little while. Historically, Robot Lab has been partnering and working mostly with universities and research labs nationwide. And this is how everything started at Robot Lab. We started to build partnership and worked on projects with some universities on the East Coast in developing solutions in many different many different applications, and use cases. And we are headquartered in San Francisco, which is, by the way, where we're at currently, Peter and I. We are expanding, so we opened also an office in Texas. That was a few months ago, and we are looking at opening maybe more branches in the near future. So that's very exciting. The main reason why we are opening new offices is because we believe that proximity is very important for our community. And as we are expanding our activities in the US but also overseas, universities who are partnering with also expect us to provide local supports and these type of services. So as an example, we are working right now on building a partnership, very important partnership with the university in Egypt. And for this specific reason, it is important for us to be able to have a team over there in the ENA region to be able to support them and many other clients. We are right now leading the market in the integration of educational technology. So as I was mentioning, we started working with universities and research labs, and as we became more successful, we also started to create programs for lower grade students. And this is when we started also to work with districts schools, I mean, public schools, private schools in the US and overseas to really create innovative and immersive learning experiences for the students with the same objective, is to keep our students engaged and career ready for the upcoming decades. So we have right now, I think it's more than 20,000, I will say probably 35,000 schools and universities working with Robot Lab. And again, it's not only robotics, as a matter of fact. We are present in, I will say, three main verticals. Number one is obviously robots, thus the name, but we are also very present in the makerspace industry, as well as virtual reality. And our role at Robot Lab, again, is always to think about educators and think about students. So it's not really, offering the new coolest toy available, but it's really for us to bring to the table a turnkey solution to help educators teach and students to learn. And so what that means is a solution for us is basically including obviously the hardware, but also the proper software. It can be, a SDK, it can be, a user-friendly interface to introduce students to programming. It can be really any tools that students will need to learn more about the platform. But first and foremost, it will be the curriculum. And this is what we've been doing for more than a decade now at Robot Lab, is building content for the teachers that are sometimes struggling. Once you buy a piece of equipment, you're wondering how I'm going to be able to use it. I'm going to be able to teach with it. And this is really where Robot Lab can help you with providing you the right tools to make this equipment useful in your lab or in your classroom. So that's a little bit about Robot Lab. I see here that there is a mention about Furhat. Fine, this is one of our partners, but there are many others, including Agilex, which will be the focus of the day. So as I was mentioning, we are present in many different verticals at Robot Lab: VR, makerspace, robotics, covered out by a biggest topic that is AI in general, which is the reason why Robot Lab is getting more and more famous in not only providing a solution, but also creating an entire learning experience. And we call it the AI Lab, which essentially is for us at Robot Lab, it is to basically create from scratch an entire lab for a university, for a research center. So basically, the typical case is a university will contact us and say, hey guys, I have a new program. I want to teach a new way to teach AI or coding. And so the first question we're going to ask, obviously, is do you have space for that? But once we get the space and we basically have 4 walls available, we'll be able to work with our architects that we have in our team to basically design from scratch an entire lab that is innovative and that is really a design to facilitate the learning process for the students. So an AI lab typically at Robot Lab is a set of different stations. And each station will basically focus on a particular area for curriculum that we have at Robot Lab. So it can be humanoid robotics, it can be smart transportation, it can be Industry 4.0. And each station will basically accommodate a certain number of students that will be able to rotate between stations to be able to tackle every angle and every areas of our curriculum. We'll come on site, we'll do all the installation, teaching the educators, and once we leave, you have a turnkey lab basically that you can start using to welcome your students. So the reason why I'm mentioning that is because it's the trend right now. We have more and more universities excited about this new offering, just because it can be very overwhelming for educators to build a lab from scratch. Which equipment should I be using? Well, from our expertise, we are here to basically select the best of breed technology available out there. And then how am I going to be able to use it in my lab? How am I going to be able to teach with it? Well, again, we have at Robot Lab developed a methodology and the tools to help you teach with this equipment. And one of the stations that we have in our lab is called smart transportation. And one type of equipment that we are offering our users is essentially focusing on AGVs. So as you might know, AGVs are now very popular. I did a little research yesterday online, and I realized I didn't know that AGVs, the first AGV, was actually built back in the 50s, so more than 70 years ago. So that's a long time ago. And essentially what it was the first automated guided vehicle that was a little more than an improved, how do you call it, like tow truck that could navigate by following a track of wires embedded in the factory floor that basically was generating a magnetic field. And I think it's very exciting to see that, this, obviously this technology is not new. It's available for decades now. But finally, we are seeing AGVs being used in now many different industries, and that's no secret for you guys. So obviously for military purposes, but also for farming, or you call it smart farming, where AGVs will be taught, programmed and taught to pick autonomously, crop, being used for spray fertilizer and pesticides, and will also be used to test the soil. So there are a lot of projects going on right now using AGVs for farming. Obviously, that's no secret to you that AGVs have been used for decades now in warehouses, and AGVs are here to help optimize the workflow process in warehouses and basically make human workers more efficient. AGVs are being used also in the construction industry, again, to make the construction process more efficient, optimize the workflows, etc. And another example would be in the obviously transportation, where we are now seeing AGVs pretty much everywhere, from autonomous buses to autonomous cars. Some of you might be owning a Tesla car, for example. So this is becoming like mainstream, and there are different reasons for that, or several advantages that AGVs can offer to the public. Number one is basically reducing the labor costs. This is pretty much obvious, and the most obvious cost saving that comes from implementing automated guided vehicles is the reduction in labor cost, because you are either replacing an existing employee or foregoing a new hire. So that's number one. Finding employees also and training them and retaining them is a big challenge for many industries, especially right now post-COVID, with the struggle that we have with labor shortage. So employees expect also the compensation to grow within time because of the experience level and time with the company. So by replacing basically personnel with AGVs, you remove this growth in labor expenses, and for private companies, it means basically a bigger ROI. So that's pretty straightforward. The second bullet point about why using AGVs is essentially eliminating possibilities of damages and accidents that can occur. People make mistakes. We are all human. They get tired. They have fatigue. They can be distracted. So sometimes they don't see an obstacle and they will run, with a forklift all into a wall, or a shelf with products. So accidents and mistakes happen, but ultimately cost companies money by damaging a product that can no longer be sold, obviously, and by damaging equipment or structures, then need to be replaced. That means basically that it's very painful for a company in the bottom line. So the use of AGVs also reduce substantially this human factor by damaging products. So that's one thing, but also the risk of accidents and consequent injuries for humans. So that's also something that I think is very important to consider. And obviously the third and last thing about AGVs that also is common sense, but is I think important to remember, is increasing efficiency. And it's not only about AGVs; it's robotics in general. We're looking at increasing efficiency and overall processes. So obviously, robots and AGVs can be faster in the entire workflow. They are more systematic. They make less mistakes. We just talked about it. They can carry larger payloads than humans, obviously. So in a way, they are also more efficient again, and they are tireless. So with the possibility to scale with no limits and having also full visibility on the performance of, let's say, a fleet of AGV system that you can deploy, it is pretty obvious that AGVs are the future, and we are going to see even more AGVs being used in all the industries, including space exploration with SpaceX, for example. So just to conclude on this slide, our role at Robot Lab is really to help universities make their students career ready by selecting the best technology currently available out there for education and research. AGV for us is a big focus and a big priority. And this is the reason why we have decided to partner with a company, and it's been now more than a year and a half. And gonna have Peter talking about it in a second.
Thank you so much for that introduction to AGVs, Cedric. It was very informative. But as Cedric mentioned, here at Robot Lab, one of the biggest advantages of working with us is that we're platform agnostic, right? We're not a manufacturer of a specific product that's going to slam that one thing down your throat, right? We're going to listen to you. We're going to hear what it is that you want to do with your time, and we're going to provide a solution for you to, again, make it the best, most effective product possible for you, right? With that being said, we do have a preferred partner for our AGV solution, and that preferred partner is AgileX. As Cedric mentioned, we've been partnering with them for about a year and a half now. However, AgileX has been around for much longer than that. They were founded in 2016. Interesting little tidbit is that they were actually originally going to produce robots to park cars, right? And they've since evolved from that to be the largest producer of autonomous ground vehicles for research and for universities. And this is why we decided to partner with them. They are the biggest, they know what they're doing, and they're very, very good at it, right? They also have a large ecosystem. So they don't have just one product. No matter what your use case is, we have a solution for you, and so does AgileX. So there's many different products with the line. If you want to have like a real world use case scenario, then there's a variety of different chassis that are available, and we'll go into that in a second. But they even give you a starting point, right? So if you're teaching an undergrad class about SLAM systems or LiDAR, computer vision, and any of this type of thing, then you also have a product called the AgileX Limo. The AgileX Limo is an all-in-one solution. It has a very low point of entry, which is what makes it so popular right now.
Is it the one at the bottom right?
Yeah. It is, yeah. So this is going to be your option here at the bottom right. It has a screen on board for onboard debugging. You can see at the front there that it has the built-in vision system. And you also have the ability to get a simulation table with that. It's very highly recommended. And this is kind of your introduction to the autonomous ground vehicle landscape. And then you step up, right, to products like the bunker, which we joke around here almost looks like a tank, right, with that tracked wheel system. The cool thing about the bunker is it's also going to have that IP rating for water and dust resistance, so that you can make it go through, a body of water, or if you have an environment like a farm that might be particularly dusty, then the bunker is very popular in this type of scenario. However, obviously the bunker is going to be very, very aggressive, right? Maybe you have more of an indoor environment, like a smart warehouse. We also have a solution for this type of environment as well in the tracer, right? You're not going to put the tracer on a farm, but it's very optimal for that warehouse type of environment. One thing to note with all of these products, and again, we're going to go into more about this in just one moment, but it's really meant to be a a platform that's customizable for your needs, right? So it's a shell, and you get to build on top of that shell however you want. Another really cool thing that AgileX offers is they partner with Gazebo so that you can actually simulate your use case and build out what it is that you want to do with these different autonomous ground vehicles, and you can test out different chassis before you buy, right? So this is invaluable. So that way, you don't see the Ranger Mini on a website and then spend, X amount of money into thinking that this is the right platform for you. But then you receive it and you discover that it isn't really exactly what you thought that you were getting. Okay. This is why that Gazebo compatibility is so important. As I said, it is completely open source, so you have the ability to add payload to it, whether that be LiDAR sensors, vision systems, manipulators, etc. These are all things that you can add on to every single platform that AgileX offers, obviously, except for the Limo. AgileX is also going to have top-of-the-line hardware. There is no other manufacturer of autonomous ground vehicles out there that are designed for research and development that are going to have more sturdy or more reliable hardware than AgileX, and that's another very important component of why we chose to work with them. Now I'm going to go in a little bit more detail about each one of the individual products.
And sorry to interrupt you, Peter, but one thing that I just realized is that it can be a little bit challenging to understand the dimensions of the platform that we're talking about. If you look at the picture that we just shared with you, there is not it's tricky. It's hard to understand how big it is. And I can tell you that, for example, we have a bunker in the other room over there. This thing is huge. And I think that in the next slide you will see here, you have actually a line showing the size of each product, each model. Some of them are pretty big. So we
actually had a colleague here at the office physically right on top of the bunker, so it's able to support an adult human, right? So as Cedric said, it's really a beast, and it's a tool. Specifically with the bunker, which I guess we'll go ahead and start with since we're talking about it, right? That is invaluable to the people that are using it, and but that's just one use case, right? So maybe the bunker isn't the right model for you. You don't need that beast of a product. Maybe you need, again, something that's a little bit smaller, more compact, and able to move within tighter spaces, like the Tracer. The Tracer is actually a product that's been implemented in multiple universities for kind of that smart warehouse design scenario. And we've attached things like LiDAR on there, manipulators, etc., for it to be able to automate certain tasks, right? And this automation, it's not all about replacing people. It's about assisting people, right? Maybe you have a worker that works at Amazon, for example, and 100 times a day they have to get up, pick up a box, carry it back to their station, and sort through that box. And now 10 minutes later, they're getting back up, they're getting another box, bringing that box over their station. It's just very, very repetitive, right? But if you have a product like the Tracer that's able to move boxes from one point to another in an automated type of process, then this is just something that makes their job easier, more efficient. It's less strain on their bodies from the constant up and down, right? Of going back and forth, and obviously it saves time as well. But again, we have something for every use case. We talked a lot about the bunker, and that's a tracked steering system. It does have a 0 turn radius, which is awesome, and it's also something that's unique for that style of chassis. Then we also have an Ackerman steering system with the Hunter 2.0 and the Hunter SE. Ackerman steering, some of you may know what that is, some of you may not, but essentially the way you should think of that is like it steers like your car, right? And that certainly has its own use cases. One of my favorite products, and I think one of the more interesting chassis that are available here is the Ranger. Currently, we have the Ranger Mini, and the Ranger Mini, it offers omnidirectional steering, allowing it to really easily navigate in very tight spaces, right? This is also going to have an IP22 rating for water and dust resistance. So you may not want to drive this thing through a river, for example, but you can certainly, maybe there's a light mist or something, and the Ranger Mini can certainly handle that. Then we have the all-wheel drive offering of the Scout 2.0 and the Scout Mini. Now with the all-wheel drive steering, this is something that we're going to go a little bit more into in just 1 second. Again, the Scout Mini is the chassis that we use for our demonstration purposes. And with the Scout Mini, we actually have the R&D Kit Pro. The R&D Kit Pro includes a SLAM package, offers path planning, perception and obstacle avoidance. It will localize and navigate, right? And then also offers visual recognition, so it'll move around obstacles. And offers secondary rapid development. So if you want to, for example, add a manipulator or some type of environmental sensor or anything else to that chassis, then that's something that can be integrated within that R&D Kit Pro. Okay. However, all of what you see here with the Cobot kit, autopilot kit, R&D kit, etc., right? These are all kits that are all compatible with any of the chassis. Again, these products that we're talking about, they're just a shell, and it's up to you to customize that use case and tell us how you want to use it, and we will be able to guide you in the best, most effective way to execute that use case. Okay. Next, we have a video here that I'll show you with our solutions engineer Mitchell. And then myself, we went over to San Francisco, and you see the Bay Bridge here in the background. That's the San Francisco Bay. And we're going to show you a little bit about what the Scout Mini and the R&D Kit Pro can do. And here we go. Hi, my name's Peter Bowman. I'm your higher ed account manager. With me today, I have Mitchell Bergman.
Hey there, I'm your solutions engineer at Robot Lab, and today we're coming to you live on a beautiful day in San Francisco.
We're going to be showing you one of our autonomous ground vehicles, the Agile X Scout Mini with the R&D Kit Pro.
So what we have here is the Agile X Scout Mini chassis with the R&D Kit Pro, consisting of a vision system using the Intel RealSense camera, the Velodyne LiDAR sensor, comes with a 5G wireless router, and is running on the NVIDIA Jetson Nano CPU. The system comes with a remote control, but the vision system allows it to autonomously navigate.
And what you see here is the Scout Mini navigating autonomously. I wanted to show you that zero turn radius that the Scout Mini offers with the all-wheel drive steering. And then also that it can handle more of a wide turn if that's what you wanted to do. And then also come to a complete stop here. Right? So this is all something that you can program on your own. Oh, there we go. The user interface is very straightforward and easy to use. However, if you have any questions throughout the process, then you have the experts here at Robot Lab to guide you through that. Okay. Making the any chassis that you choose, I'm going to refer to the Scout Mini here. Making the Scout Mini navigate autonomously is done within just 3 easy steps. First, you create a map. There is a remote control that comes with the car. With that LiDAR, you'll move the chassis around your environment. and map it out. The map that you see here on the left-hand side is actually our office here at Robot Lab. But after your map is created and you've saved it, then you simply create your waypoints and tell the chassis where it is that you want to go and how quickly you want it to move. And then you simply hit start. And then there you have it. It really is that simple. And you have your beginnings of a use case, right? And that is our presentation today about AgileX and autonomous ground vehicles. Now, I'd really like to open it up to some Q&A. If any of you out in the audience have any questions, now would be the time. And Cedric and I will be responding to those questions. Find the mouse here. There we go.
Yes, guys, there's 2 open questions. If you can go to the Q&A, then you can.
And I apologize for being so rude, everybody, for not introducing our friend Maria here. Maria is actually joining us from Bogota, Colombia, and she is assisting us today. So thank you so much, Maria, for all of your help. We really appreciate it. And she has been talking with people on the chat, both leading up and then during. I understand that we have 2 questions here. And let's see. It says, how do you promote robotics in education in schools? Well, there's a ton of ways that we promote, robotics education in schools. But Cedric, would you like to talk about a few of those ways?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very very broad question, but thank you for asking. Promoting robotics education in schools really, I think the way to do it is through engaging students with new programs, and that's essentially what we're doing at Robot Lab. So that's something that I was mentioning at the beginning. The key factor to engage students is really to create a cool learning experience. And this is not only about the equipment that you'll be using, because as you know, especially nowadays, when there is a new toy, a new gadget being released every other day, students can get bored pretty easily with everything that you'll be implementing, even if it's the cool thing on the planet, at least this week. So what matters really is the content creation on the curriculum side. And for us, it is really key to create lesson plans and activities that are engaging and that facilitate, the learning experience through hands-on activities, which is the reason why, again, we are using robots. The curriculum that we've created obviously cover subjects such as coding and robotics, but not only. We have a lot of lessons around STEM and math and science, and robots are actually a great way to introduce students to subjects that can sometimes really be abstract, and the use of robots and hands-on will help us bridge this gap between abstract concept into real life experiences. One example that I always share is about quadratic equations. That can be very abstract, and the first question I will ask, and I remember I thought about this when I was younger, is why would I even need to learn this when I'm going to use it in my life? I mean, I don't care. So why should I learn it? So level of engagement, 0. But if you put in a specific context the use of quadratic equations, which is in the Robot Lab curriculum, the use of a small humanoid robot that will be programmed to kick a ball, play soccer, kick a ball, and score by using quadratic equations, then it becomes more interesting, because a lot of kids love sports, they love soccer, and they want to be able to control the robot to help the robot score. So that's a different story. And then, yes, I want to learn quadratic equations because it's cool, because it's fun, and I understand how it can be used. So I think really the focus on the curriculum part is key. And to answer Sajiv, will you provide curriculum? So yes, that's our mission here, is to provide the curriculum. The curriculum is not free. We have basically depending on what you're basically purchasing from us, if it's an equipment like a AgileX platform, or if it's a lab, depending on the type of equipment that you will be acquiring, we'll be able to support your initiative.
And then I would like to take this other question we have here. It says, do you have any plan for African schools? The answer is yes, absolutely. As Cedric mentioned, we've just formed a strong partnership with a university in Egypt, and we will in probably Q1 of next year we will start building out in a full AI lab. It'll be state of the art, and something that will certainly be unique to the region, and something that we're very excited about building. We've actually Cedric personally visited Egypt and went there to sign a partnership agreement where we will be the exclusive provider of technology for the university. And this isn't our first client in Africa either. Many other educational institutions have reached out and purchased different equipment from us that we've provided, and we continue to support those customers today. I would love to talk specifically about AGVs. If anybody has any questions about their use case, or something that they may want to do with an AGV, we can address all those questions now.
I'll give you a couple of minutes if you want to type something down. We have a new question here in the chat box. We have you can comment it.
Yeah, my friend Osama, he's basically just letting everybody know about our project. He is from the Arab Academy of Science, Technology, and Maritime Transport. He has joined the webinar today, and yes, Osama, thank you so much for the amazing compliments. It's definitely been a joy to work with you personally on this project, and again, we always appreciate the compliment. Thank you so much for attending today.
Thank you, Osama. We'll give you a couple of more minutes before we end the session. If you guys have any questions about the Agilex, or Robot Lab in general, feel free to shout your questions in the chat.
Absolutely, and I would just like to say as well, this is something that has been a huge initiative of mine, getting the latest and greatest technology out to our partners in higher education through these webinars. And part of that initiative has been the creation of the Robot Lab Summer Webinar Series. I hope to make this an annual thing from here on out. But for this year, currently we have 4 webinars as a part of the series. This is the first one, Automate Your Research. Next week, we'll be coming to you with a webinar about underwater ROVs that I am also very excited about. We have a very exciting partner in this space who is very dedicated towards getting their technology out to you. And the cool thing about the partner that we're working with on that webinar and in this space is that they were actually born out of a university. So they are people just like you that are looking to make an impact specifically in higher education. So we're very excited about next week and the other 2 webinars to follow. And we possibly have a 5th webinar joining the series as well. But we will save that information for when and if that time becomes appropriate. Looks like we have a new question that just came up here. It says, what do you think is a good path to become a solutions engineer or a robotic engineer? Because this presentation is awesome and I want to know how to be immersed in that world. Yeah, no, fantastic question. Thank you so much, Gabriel. So for that, it's really just about immersing yourself in the space, right? One thing I can say for my friend Mitchell, who joined our webinar there briefly, is that he's solution oriented. If you put any type of problem in front of him, he will, go through the process, not based on what we cannot do, but based on what we can do. If you truly dedicate yourself to having that type of attitude, then that type of energy is certainly recognized and I'm sure that you'll have success breaking into the space. We have a question from Abdul. It says, hello, I am Abdul from Pakistan and a beginner in the robotics field. Suggest to me some useful tips for the future. Oh, wow. Some useful tips. Cedric, do you have any useful tips?
Yeah, I think we can reach out to Abdul after the session and maybe have a call with him and help him out about things that he should know to succeed in this field, because there are so many things that we can share. There is another question here. Can we know the educational packages you have? So of course we can share with you, but again, we have a lot of different solutions available, from a by-product approach to a complete lab solution, and we cover all grade level. So there are really tons of options. So what I would suggest is after the call, all the attendees will receive an email from Robot Lab that includes a couple of links. One, a link to the product catalogs that we have for K-12 and higher ed, because I'm not sure, if you are with a school or with a university. That's number one. And obviously, we'll also share with you a link to the Agilex catalog, where you have a better understanding of all the different options that we show you today about, Agilex products, chassis, and payloads. And obviously, if you have any questions moving forward about any type of solutions from Robot Lab, or more precisely about Agilex, feel free to reach back to us, to Peter. Peter is your man, and they will take care of you.
Specifically with this type of solution, we love to do consultations just to make sure that you have proper expectations. I highly recommend that you utilize that tool Gazebo when looking into our autonomous ground vehicles, so that way you can ensure that the chassis that you choose is going to be appropriate for your use case. You can, with Gazebo, you can literally simulate everything about your use case to the point where it should be very easy to execute in real life. Maria, if you could just post a link as well to the chat in our website, so that the person that was asking about our solutions can kind of view those. It'd be appreciated.
Yes, definitely. I share with you guys also the link to our webinars is coming soon for this coming week, so please join us. It's going to be amazing tools and products for you. And yeah, I just share the link with you. Register, easy registration, and then I'll see you there. And yeah,
Awesome.
Of course, I will share the other link too.
Thank you, Maria. And the last thing I'd like to say before concluding today's webinar is just that we will, on top of sending you the recording for the webinar, we will also be sending out a survey. Please fill out that survey. It is very vital for us to know about how we're doing, how we're conveying the information, if there's anything else that you would like to see different from Robot Lab in terms of content. All of that is you can communicate via that survey that we will send out following today's webinar. So please fill it out. Please give us our feedback, and you'll have some type of special offer in there good through the end of the year for that as well if you respond. Thank you so much, everybody, for your time. It's been a pleasure. I sincerely appreciate it, and we hope to see you again next week and for the rest of the Robot Lab summer webinar series. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.